Is there a straight man in a house? An ordinary louse, someone dim and déclassé, who's never seen a play, a man who shops at Sears.
Mark, the moment I received your flyer, I knew how I had to talk to you because this show is what we always say as a gay man. I need a straight man. But I don't think any of my friends who have said that have actually written a play about it. So shall we start with you telling us why you did that?
The reason I called it that is I genuinely need a straight guy in the audience for the kind of through line of the show to work. So it's on the face of it a functional thing. But I wanted to play off, as you say, that trope that gay men love getting with straight guys or thinking they can turn straight guys. And I think there's an element of like internalized homophobia in that, isn't there? That gay guys maybe want a masculine or butch guy, whatever it is. So I think all of those are in the mix, but also I think it's fun for your flyer because so much of the Edinburgh Fringe, right, is about getting audiences in. And I do want like straight people in the show because it's more fun to have a mixed show, right? To have a mixed audience, I think, generally. And so I think it's a fun flyering hook to be able to go up to straight guys on the street and be like, I need
It's an excuse. It's an excuse for you to talk to them.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is.
I read that you're the only gay comic in the world. What makes this claim upon?
It's true. It's definitely true. All the other ones are just pretending. They're not actually gay. I've got the scars to prove it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, obviously there are loads of.
There are. I'm putting this in so they'll all phone up and hate you. But I'm treading carefully here because I read also that you hate putting queer men into boxes. Now, do you mean that figuratively or physically?
Definitely not physically. That's all I do. Yeah, no, I think that's I think it's really hard, isn't it, when you're doing something like comedy and you're a member of a minority group, whatever it may be, because you're all of a sudden expected to sort of speak for that group with, you know, as if you're representing them. And I often, a lot of the time when I do sort of online skits and stuff, the most, I mean, I occasionally get like homophobic, you know, abuse and so on, but the main criticism I get, if I do get it, is actually from other gay guys saying like, this doesn't, I don't think this represents us, or this isn't. And I'm like, I wasn't claiming to, do you know what I mean? This is like this is my, you know, quote unquote lived experience of being gay. Warts and all figuratively.
So Mark, if I'm sitting in the audience, your show, what am I expecting to see and hear? Don't give it all away.
The show, I think, is really about the period after coming out. So I came out about 10 years ago, and I think a lot of the like queer stand-ups first show is about coming out, which is obviously great. But I think for me, right, the process of coming out, it's not a it's a long-term process, right? It's sort of coming to terms, which feels like a cliche, but I think for me it has. I mean, some examples for me, I think definitely when I came out, I wouldn't have felt comfortable going to a queer club. I wouldn't have felt comfortable kind of wearing, I don't know, a harness. I wouldn't have felt, and this sounds awful to say, but I wouldn't have felt that like femme or trans members of our community I wouldn't have felt the same love and allyship towards them that I do now. I think because I was still carrying quite a lot of internalized homophobia and maybe had a perception of who I was that isn't true, that I think was a carryover from like the decade I had spent pretending and trying to be straight. So I think it's about the period after you come out, and I've loosely structured it around what I think are the 5 rites of passage as a gay man.
Let's help each other. But tell me, is this your full-time job now, or is that selling your underwear on Grindr?
Do you know what? I teach children, if you can believe that. I
don't believe you're safe enough to be around children. But you know, I thought that when I asked this question, we have an audience around the globe, and they're all going to be looking at Grindr to find your underwear.
Well, keep searching, guys. No, the thing, the thing is, the Grinder underwear market is off the charts. I might actually
How do you know?
um, I've heard from friends.
Okay, so also read that this idea came to you during the pandemic lockdown. I mean, how did it happen? Did you get the apparition of Tom of Finland in front of you?
I think it's been building. I mean, before the pandemic, I did a bit of stand-up, but I was mainly in a sketch comedy duo. And then the pandemic kind of put paid to that, as it did with, so many other things. And then I started doing online skits about my gay experience, the gay experience, whatever. And then kind of restarted stand-up after that. So it's really built since then. So I did half an hour at the Fringe 2 years ago, 45 minutes last year, and now kind of full hour of stand-up. Yeah, so it's sort of built over the last 2 or 3 years.
So you're not a virgin in Edinburgh anyway?
Not in Edinburgh, but in real life, yes.
I'll take that as that leave. So have you considered Scottish men as possibly your candidate for a straight man? No?
No, it's not. Come one, come all is my.
Oh, really? So this is not an advert. We're not advertising your body here. But do you have a backup plan in case you don't find your straight man?
In case, yeah. I mean, in kind of versions of the show, works in progresses, I've had to ask a gay man to pretend to be straight, which inevitably has meant some sort of them remembering some past trauma, because almost all gay men have had to pretend to be straight at some point in their life. But I'm hoping, I think, the works and progresses and previews and stuff I've done have just been my audience, but the Fringe, you normally get much more of a mixed audience because people wander in and stuff. In an ideal world, I'll have some sort of middle-aged straight men who are a little bit uncomfortable, but not too uncomfortable, but just uncomfortable enough for it to be fun to ask them stuff. Yeah.
Crucifying these poor men. How often are you performing?
Edinburgh, I'm performing every night from the 28th of July from the 31st of July until the 26th of August.
And is there a journey? Is there a journey for this play afterwards?
I hope so. I think, fingers crossed, it will get a London transfer of sorts. I would love it to go to Soho Theatre, and hope it will, but you'll have to watch this space. And yeah, I think either way, I'll do a small kind of UK tour in the spring of the show.
And finally, if there's straight men watching this, how and where should they apply?
Well, my DMs would be a good place to start.
Okay, well, good luck with that. Good luck in Edinburgh. And thank you for talking to me today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Is there a straight man amongst an ordinary louse? Someone dim and déclassé who's never seen a play? A man who shops at Sears without regrets? Whose favorite French cuisine is raisinets? Is there a straight man here by chance wearing polyester pants? A man who goes both ways or just going through a phase? Perhaps a man who walked in by mistake?
It shows you people in your local area, which is useful from a hookup perspective, but obviously massively increases the chances that you're going to bump into someone in real life. I made the huge strategic error shortly after moving to where I live now of hooking up with a guy who mans the barriers at my local tube station, which means that ever since moving to London, I just haven't been able to get the underground.